Upload audio clip. It's episode 464. Hi, it's Bernie Goldbach. I'm in Clonmel, County Tipperary, Ireland, talking about myClonmel. It'll be a hashtag, myClonmel, and it reflects community learning through design. It's a project that I'm working with a group of students. They're transition year students in a secondary school in Clonmel, and with a few of the teachers, trying to tie together some design thinking frameworks along with a production process that has the young students connect, collaborate, and share a variety of different ways. I outlined some of these elements of collaboration, and I made a sway. I'll put it in the show notes at bit.ly, short link, and it's called myClonmel Sway 01, with the number 01 as part of the URL. Some elements of thinking here that make this connect together. The first element is computational thinking, thinking in a way where you can express the problem you want to solve by things you have to execute, programs or logic pattern that you have to execute. This borrows from a pedagogy inside of a level 8 award that we have on the campus where I teach. It's called Computing and Computational Thinking. And several of the teachers that I've encountered over the summer who've been able to teach work skills, real life skills, social skills, and technology skills to students, they understand how this works. The second major element is probably the biggest thing. We live in a GDPR environment, and I think a lot of students need to know privacy is an essential thing. They give it up in a frictionless world in which they live. Their tribes sort of demand it. Well, there is an element of privacy, a foundation element of privacy that weaves its way throughout the program, or the hashtag conglomeration called myClonmel. We'll learn about that. I would teach it. I will show how a phone shares information and use some examples from case studies to let young 14 to 16-year-old students know, hey, there's stuff you might be sharing that you don't even know about, yet there are some things you can anonymize and share in this group effort that'll make the project myClonmel come together nicely. The third element in these 10 elements of the collaboration is sharing itself. It's a trusted collaborative process that we'll use. These are groups of students who know each other face to face. They go to the same school together, and electronically they're going to connect in sharing their work. What I know from the past is if you're on a system like Instagram, you like seeing people who visit your stuff, like your stuff, and maybe comment on or share your stuff. That kind of engagement behind the scenes can actually start and sustain an initiative, and I'm hoping that that's what happens. I actually think that there are really easily discernible tribes of people who are inside of different clusters of Instagram. They just coagulate around hashtags. They like seeing things that inform their judgment. And sure enough, for a young girl, it would be like hair or nail styles or a fashion sense that you can inform by seeing how a piece of clothing looks on someone else, or what a different color scheme in someone's hair does to their fashion sense. So it's important to collaborate. It's important to share in this kind of dynamic community. And most importantly, though, instead of going down some rabbit hole, where you're spending too much time in a hashtag cluster that doesn't pertain to myClonmel, it's important to know that there's a workflow that you should be part of. So in my particular case, we're asking people to share where they go and what they like to do inside the town of Clonmel. And what they're going to learn also is to share places that they don't go to, maybe no-go zones, perhaps they're derelict, maybe there's not enough light in an area, or maybe it's just not their thing. So we're going to determine that, document that in a flow of activity that the students share using Google Local, using a Flickr photo stream, using comments that they make on Spreaker, and images or videos, clips they share on Instagram. I'll harvest a lot of this stuff on OneDrive. That's an asset that the students have on the Presentation Secondary School campus. They'll also use some guidance in Classroom OneNote, which is set up already because they know what they're doing on Presentation Secondary School's campus. Element 5, the fifth element of 10, is The Art of Noticing. It's a book by Rob Walker. He has 131 prompts in it. We'll only do about 15 of those prompts. And we'll be asking students to kind of dive in to what the prompt is and interact with the building or the street or the venue or the cluster that they're determining is a point of interest, a discovery point in their program, in their view of their town, myClonmel. The 6th to the 10th element is called audio storytelling. We've done this before. We use Spreaker Studio. In fact, that's what I'm using right now to talk about how this program is all set up. I think mobile audio note-taking with Spreaker Studio is native to what a lot of students want to do. We did it successfully last year. We do it with the youth media team, YMT.FM. There's a workflow those students have. There are case studies and proven the capabilities students have shown by being able to just simply pick up a phone without even using any kind of special microphone, talk through show notes or an outline of thoughts, and bang, you've got a really clever way of using your voice and developing a story that's compelling, that supports the theme of myClonmel. The 7th major element is green screen. Some of the work that students do will end up being projected behind them as they stand in front of a green screen, either the pop-up green screen that we have on myClonmel Digital Campus, or it might be the green wall that's painted in the library of the school, at the home campus at the Presentation Secondary School, or it might be the pop-up screen that's used in the Clonmel Library or in the Questum Development Center. So the 8th element goes real public. Tipperary FM. TippFM. Tip Today is a show that's been very favorable to community dynamics like this. So is Element 9 Tipperary Live. That's the national, it's a local paper. We're going to take some content in, have grandparents and the older generation interacting by reading and perhaps participating in a series of workshops that are going to be held in the Clonmel Library on the 3rd or the 4th Wednesday of each month, getting these comments in, getting these concepts done. In a nutshell, if all these 10 elements come together and the collaboration hits to a high note, we'll end up sharing how we did it at a teachers' conference. It's called the ICT and Education Conference. It's held in Thurles, County Tipperary, Ireland. It's hashtag ictedu. All right, I'm hashtagging this kind of work that I'm doing as myClonmel. Surprisingly, there is a myClonmel that's been used in 2 different ways. One's with regard to a scrapbook of digital information that has been harvested from headstones, so it's cemetery records. The other one is a single instance of a woman who is proud of her fashion sense, and she myClonmel'd that image as easily discoverable on Google. Soon, within a few weeks, myClonmel should be maybe images students take, like the Clonmel Guard, which is cover art for this episode. Images are important. Places you go are important. Your town, in our case, myClonmel, is important. And why I think this will be a really fun little project that we can do. In summary, my name is Bernie Goldbach. I'm a creative media lecturer in the Clonmel Digital Campus. It's under Dylan Goldbach has worked with green screens and worked with audio storytelling before. He's too young to be in transition year, but the target students we have, the 14 to 16-year-old students we have, will do really well with this program. I know they will, because we've done similar programs to this in the past. Follow hashtag myClonmel on all good social networks. Catch up with me, Top Gold, if you want to use that avatar or that handle on other places worth reading and listening to. Talk to you next week. Bye for now.